Hey, welcome back to my channel. I had a whole video that I made, but the sound didn't come through, so let's take two. I wanted to talk about a loud thought I had for the week, which is selective compassion. Talk about how with some global crisis for some country it gets all the attention, media coverage, and for some it's crickets or judgment or they deserve that. And for my first example, I want to talk about Palestine and Ukraine, the difference in how both those countries were handled. Being Palestinian myself, it was disheartening to say the least. When Russia invaded Ukraine, you had a lot of people supporting Ukraine globally, and you also had people denounce Russia for going in, causing a humanitarian crisis with the people of the Ukraine. You had the flags on profile pictures and pins that people would do. They were, there was a lot of support. And then cut to Palestine, who's been under occupation for 75 years. And and people saw the oppressors as the people being victimized. And at first, I mean, that sentiment did change with the help of TikTok and a lot of social media, where you got to see what was really going on down there. This isn't the first time that they've been bombed, homes taken, children abducted, children maimed, killed. I mean, a perfect example of overkill would be what happened in Palestine, currently and always. Macklemore did a whole song dedicated to a little girl who cried for help when she was the only one alive in a car, and still the Israeli military bullets through the car, killing Hind. So these are things where I wonder about selective compassion and when did empathy become a luxury brand versus being actual empathy? I I've been thinking about this a lot, and then I read this book, The Life You Can Save, where they do focus a lot on children. A lot of the examples so far, I haven't finished the book, but so far have been towards like helping children and all of that. And I just, it made me think about how we've used compassion as a way to make ourselves look good, being altruistic because for likes, for trends, for all these things. And yeah, and I wonder why. Like what's the point of that? Then in the book, and it kind of reminded me of something else, right? So moving away from talking about how crises or crises or whatever is handled, that was handled between Palestine and Ukraine. Let's talk about African countries and the selective nature of what countries get talked about and what countries are hidden from worldview as to what is going on. So you hear a lot about Uganda, Rwanda, and sending money there. And while I don't disagree with that, I also would like to have talked about Sudan and Congo, or have that be talked about. I mean, in Sudan, they've been going through a war for what, like 3 years? I might be wrong, but about 3 years, maybe longer. And people have died. For what? And we don't talk about that. Or Congo. Let's talk about Congo. Congo is under a humanitarian crisis because of people's convenience. Their resources are being mined for your iPhone, for your computer, and it's being monitored or run by an Israeli businessman. So Congo and Palestine have a lot in common in that we are oppressed by the same people. And it is unfortunate because we don't talk about that, right? We don't talk about how they're using rape as a form of torture and keeping people in line in Congo, to keep them mining, to keep them depleting their resources. It's disgusting to me. And I mean, we talk about how we see like how we are selective about our compassion globally, but we're also selective about our compassion domestically. There's a show that was built around selective compassion. I don't know how familiar you all are with the show Found, but it's basically surrounded by a woman who creates a company to help find people that aren't seen in media. And it's the, if a white girl gets taken, blasted all over media, local coverage, all like nationwide coverage. But if a black girl gets taken, how often do you hear about it? Do you see it as often? Are you blasted with that image? No. It and it's that we see things the way the media wants us to see them, unless we break free and learn and research on our own, unless you are those people that do see it because it happens to you. And I just wonder how often you think about that. You think about how selective compassion affects you on a daily basis, how it affects global causes. When I was talking about the African countries that get seen, they're seen mainly because of, if there's tourism that is out of those countries that benefit other countries, if there's strategic alliances, if it just looks good, if it's not too sad. I I think that with social media, there's good and bad with that, right? You get exposed to things you wouldn't necessarily be exposed to. You see things that you wouldn't necessarily see. And that's how thoughts and minds have changed in regards to Palestine, not necessarily amongst governments that are still 10 toes behind Israel and the atrocities they're committing, but also exposed us to what was going on to Sudan and in Congo. And it's interesting because after this last election, when Kamala lost, you saw how many people were performative with their compassion towards Palestine or their continuous talking about Congo and Sudan. It was like, oh, we didn't get what we wanted, so we don't care anymore. And that's not how compassion works. It's not how caring works. It's not how hearts are supposed to work. And instead of being performative, instead of being trendy, find it in your hearts to research, to understand what's happening in those areas. And we may not be able to do much in way of money or in way of physically helping there, but what you can do is talk about it. I mean, I don't know how many people were affected when learning about American history and learning about the Trail of Tears. I was affected. Indigenous people of this country were treated, I mean, terrible is not the right word. It's not as like, it's not nearly as heavy of a word as that could possibly be utilized, but it's not okay. You know, we should have compassion for everyone that's going through issues, not just the people that we think deserve it and we see as human. And these are considered others or not human enough. I mean, look at how we treat people domestically. Black and brown people are treated terribly domestically. Look at the deportations of people who supposedly have tattoos that are gang related, that are not gang related at all. They're just saying that just for funsies, just to align with their terrible agenda. But also look at the people that were part of the pro-Palestinian conversation, arrested, deported, or in line for deportation, their green cards revoked, their student visas revoked. And for what? For exercising freedom of speech, the number one thing that the forefathers added. And while this country was built on the backs of so many people that they treated terribly, the indigenous people being number one, the Africans that were brought into this country against their will as slaves to work fields because it was too hard for those plantation owners to do it themselves. Like, be so for real. You built everything on the backs of other people. And instead of embracing what makes us unique in the diversity and being progressive and understanding the terrible things that were done, instead, you've decided to not be so compassionate to those that need it, not be compassionate globally, not be compassionate overall. And that makes me sad. It makes me sad for the American people that can't see beyond what they're told. It makes me sad for the global communities that will never know the compassion of countries that give it to other people, give the compassion to other people that they deemed worthy. And it makes me sad that domestically people here are still fighting to be seen. And we're fighting to get that compassion from people that never saw us as human in the first place. Instead of talking about who deserves what, we should open our hearts and open our minds to the people that are out there that need our help, that just want us to understand who they are and to see them as human. That's it. Just see people as human. It's not that hard. Because I can't help in ways that I wish I could, I try to help my local community, and I try to educate people on who I am and what my background is in and what I know, what I don't know, because it's the least I can do, the very least I can do. And if you can walk away learning something from this, it would be, don't be performative with your altruism and your compassion. And if you truly are really passionate about a cause, don't let it go. Hold on to it. Because we need people like you. Really, all we want is to live in a world where we're seen. You don't have to understand me. You don't even have to like me. But see me. See me. I am not invisible. People like me are not invisible. People in your community that are in the minority, not invisible. The unhoused, not invisible. See people. Be compassionate. That's just my loud thought for the week. Thank you for listening.